Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the
Well, it's not welcome at the party tonight, is it? Celtic got beat in the cup today, 1-0 by Kilmarnock. We're going to jump right onto the comments because there's lots of people having their say. I always like to have this video, this live, a little bit after the game so that we can calm down a bit, because I think that sometimes if we were to jump on this live right after the game, I know some of the guys down the pub were absolutely livid with the performance, and let's just see who's all online. First of all, we need new players. We're going to go into that in a minute. I'm just going to see who's online to make sure that we've got someone that can there we go. Let me just jump over here. Right, let's Kevin, you're on zombie watch for the moment. Standard. Kevin, you're on zombie watch till the rest get on. Okay, look. Absolutely rubbish. Yep. Tam Mack is in the building. That's fine. There's a couple on. Poor. Felt embarrassing to watch that. Right. Let's get to see what Brendan said. Yeah, we'll go through some of the comments first and get you up and see what you're saying. Said after the Aberdeen game, says Vinny. Back to Brendan. Slow, boring football, side to side. Love at the pack. Boring. Taylor. Where do you even start with Taylor? He had a bad game, hard to watch, says Diane. Kevin. Dan says Lager struggled. The fact he's only 5 minutes in the door. Yeah, and everyone else struggled in the team with him. It was who got pass marks today. Who got pass marks? Diane. Let me see. Back to the thingy first. June Boy says Turnbull is not the answer. No. We need two quality midfield players, a left back and a striker. I think we need a left back, a right back, a midfield player that can create something, and a striker. Because the strikers we've got, we'll talk about it in a minute. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Anyway, we need a decent number 10, a striker. Brendan Rodgers blip. I feel that we are standing still at the moment. Yes, need players as soon as possible. Bosburst flagged the entire team off. And their family. No, we're not going to do that, John Paul. Absolute rubbish. Tam Live was the last. Liberty was the last team to do that to us. Yes, they were. Poor performance. Put it this way: is it good to lose the game in the cup and not the league? Tell me that in the comments. Are you allowed to say what you do? Let's see, where did that one go? Are you allowed to say what you hear, Baz? Other forwards have too many Lowell loyalists. You can say whatever you want on here. You can say whatever you want. I'm not going to back up. I'm never going to back up Peter Lowell, and I'm certainly not going to. If I think that Mark Lowell isn't doing his job right, if I think he's getting too much interference from his father, I'll call him out on this channel. It's one thing that this channel has always been known for, going back to 2013 or 2012 or whenever it was this channel started. If you look back, you know it's never been too thing about calling out the board. Put it that way. I think the board needs to get a little. Should be a little rocket up the jacksie of the board today. Long time coming. Imagine if we had Champions League qualifiers. Exactly. Yang done nothing. I thought Yang actually played his position a bit better than anybody else in the pitch. He came on. He was coming on to play wide player, and he did play 20 cans and edge back. Lol. Right. There's the one. Right. Did Ange Postecoglou jump ship because he knew Celtic were never going to spend serious money this summer? Ange wanted to go out and spend 10 to 15 million pounds on a player. Did he jump ship because he knew that the board? Stop blaming people all on the board. Oh shit! It's time for Brendan to take his players and their boys, and we need to adjust the new setup. Yeah, it's true, Lanky. It is true. I understand what you're saying about that. But where is the Where are the players that are going to make us better for the Champions League this year? Where are the players that are going to improve the squad so that we don't get tanked in the Champions League? If you're going into the Champions League with this team and this setup, um, I really honestly think that Ange had Ange had the offer of the best contract from a Celtic manager ever. He had allegedly 30 million budget, and when he said to the board that he wanted to go out and buy two or three players at between 10 and 15 million, the reins were pulled in. The reins were pulled in. And is that the real reason that he jumped ship? Because let's face it, Spurs were looking for a manager way before the end of the season. And we all remember the photograph of their owner, and what's the owner called in to make sure that they signs the contract. And he played a blinder and says, let's leave it to the end of the season. We're starting to sound like zombies, says Brian. No, we're not. We're talking about a game and the fact that we haven't progressed. Right? They've bought a team for absolute gumph. We have not progressed this season. And if you could tell me how we need a couple of men, not kids. Yes, it's true. This is why I think we need someone that can take the weight off Callum McGregor's shoulder, take the weight off of him in midfield, because even though he was getting man marked today again, you could see him trying to get the new defenders, telling him to move up the park. You know, he was doing his job. We need. I'm going to say it. We need a goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper. I think the fact that they never went for Dominic is absolutely wrong. Ange told his agent once before he left to name his team. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's no longer a dream to be a Premiership manager. Yes, yeah. Brendan Ball is back. Right, I was hoping for Kelly Drew, the zombies. Yeah. Okay, cheerleaders. Once we get humped at Ibrox, are you happy? There you go. I don't think that will. I don't think it will happen. I think we have an opportunity now. I think we have an opportunity, and Brendan has said after this game, and Brendan Rodgers insists Celtic woe at Kilmarnock is the pitch, nothing else, as he seeks transfer quality. He did say on telly after the match, he said it was down to the pitch. I mean, the ball was bouncing ridiculously. Absolutely, the ball was just ridiculous the way it was actually bouncing about. Well, hi, evening, Paul. Good that you're in the house. We need to drop McGregor and give the armband to someone else. Really, Keith? Don't you think that Callum needs a bit of support in that midfield area? Because let's face it, he's sitting in there. Celtic went too far and bought itself. It's all about the money. Yes, that was a poor performance. Right, I'm going to. If I had a board here, I'm going to tell you how Kilmarnock played. Kilmarnock were playing with a back five, as you know. Right, so when Celtic were pushing up, or when Kyogo moved into a position, their back five went to a back three. The two wing backs pushed up, and then the back three then moved in to one side of the pitch. Right, they weren't sitting spaced out like a back three normally would be. The back three then pushed up so that Kyogo had no space. The two wing backs were sitting in front of them, so it was more like a box shape. So you've got your back three there, and there's Kyogo. Right, if he's sitting there, they're usually more spread apart. They moved in a bit, and it nullified us. Callum McGregor was getting man marked again. We knew this would happen. We need to have a system that I mean, you could go. Where do you start from? Who played good? Going from the back, I think both defenders, considering they haven't played together, considering one was in the door 5 minutes, they had a little lapse of quality at the goal, I reckon. But Ralston isn't the answer. Ralston definitely is not the answer going into Champions League. Taylor's been looking at it for a couple of weeks now. Surely isn't the answer because he would have been on the game. I would have brought James Forrest on. I thought James Forrest was going to come on the same time as Turnbull, but then they scored. Did that make Brendan change his mind? The killer keeper could have put a deck chair out. I wouldn't say it was as good as that. Those pitches cannot be an excuse. Not anymore. No, they can't be. And it's high time that Celtic stop using that as an excuse. We should be better. better than that. We shouldn't. And you've got to, you could go down the road of saying, right, what happened to the elbow in the face to Greg Taylor? That's a red card for me all day long. I mean, the guy, where was VAR then? Where was VAR then? Greg Taylor gets an obvious elbow to the face and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Taylor must have knew he was going to be replaced. That's why they drop off his performance. The pitch is no excuse. We won on every pitch. Yep, we did that. We need a new keeper, two midfield players. We do need quality. We do need quality. Callum had 5 weeks off. He gets paid 40 grand a week to play football. He needs a rest. Come on. He didn't have 5 weeks off because he played for Scotland. He had about 3 weeks off, 2 weeks off if he was lucky. But anyway, we're not going to moan about it. I can't think of any keepers out there. Can't think of any keepers either. Trips to smash the like button. Yes, Lanky. Right, get the thumbs up because even though we got beat, we're still here. We do not do walking away on this channel, right? We do not do walking away on this channel. We got beat. We put our hands up. We weren't good enough today. We say, right, it was a cup game. It was probably the hardest cup game that we could have got at this stage of the season. But it wasn't in the league. And for me, I would rather drop points. I would rather lose this cup because for me, the Scottish Cup is the only cup you want to win. It's good to win this cup, and it's part of a treble. And we talked about this in the video the other day. I says, do you know, if you're going to win any cup, you want to win the Scottish Cup because that's the last game of the season. This cup, you know, it's a good cup to win. It's part of the treble, and trebles are brilliant. And it shows you how hard trebles are to come by. You know, this thing that we were going to walk to another treble this year, and Brendan walked through the door. It's people knew how to play against us last season, right? And people knew how they were played against us, how to push up against us, and how to stop us playing their football. We've come in with a new manager, and they've done it the exact same way. And Constant would have been a continuation of Ange Ball. This is true. The cup only matters if it's part of the treble. That's true. The cup only matters if it's part of a treble. If it's that's the only time it matters. Yeah, I would rather win the Scottish Cup and the league. Let's move forward a couple of weeks. Right? 2 weeks time we play them. I can bet you some serious money that we'll have some decent players in by then. Brendan will go to the board tomorrow. He'll say, "Look, we need quality. We need quality. We can't go into this season." I think Kilmarnock are the shock troops of the year when at least English women get beat. Yes, this is true. Viva España! Viva! Exactly. Teams know how to play against us. Yep, Brian, you're exactly right. Now teams have it against us. They know how to play against us. They know I'm a Celtic fan, and I love seeing you get humbled. Smiles. And you have just been back. How are we getting humbled? Anyway, I would rather see progress in Europe than a cup. This is the main objective for this season. This is the complete main objective for this season. And as it stands, we cannot go into the Champions League with the current set of players. I've backed the manager and the people that have came. I did say on Friday when we did the Friday Night Live, I thought it's really hard to predict a scoreline. I mean, I went for 4-1. How ridiculous was that scoreline? I did say on Friday night, I thought we need to be realistic. Cameron Carter Vickers is out. We've lost Starfelt. We've lost our best defenders. We're playing. People keep on saying, look, stop giving Ralston stick. Stop giving Greg Taylor stick. Where are they people today? The board need to stop playing with the biscuit tin. Too many jaded players on the pitch today. Callum McGregor is not in the right place mentally. Interesting. Brendan only took the job with assurances the transfer kitty and signings. Where are those signings? We've spent £15 million this season, right? We will beat Man U. Where is the Champions League quality signings? As it stands, we haven't brought any in. We haven't brought. We get murdered in Champions League. Remember? Yes, we did. Right. He'll the grandparent boys on board needs to start looking at development of players. Yes. If this window is anything to go by, Ange Postecoglou came in and spent good money on good players to make sure that they won the league back. The second summer window, we didn't need to buy as many quality players. The ones that we brought in were to make the team's squad better. We've now spent 15 million this summer on players that have came in that couldn't lace Jota's boots. Couldn't lace Jota's boots. I would even say that losing our other Australian has been, I think, in the middle of the park, has left Callum short. I think that's really, really obvious. We need. I'm even going to say that we need some kind of. I mean, Awata was meant to be the best midfield player to come out of Japan, and he can't even get a game. Yes, Paul G. I wonder where the 30 million war chest is. Well, it's probably under Lowell's bed. Rodgers was actually blaming on the pitch. Yes, he was. He was actually blaming the pitch. He said that in an interview on television afterwards. His exact words was something along the lines of, um, "What could you take for the game today? What was really bad about it?" And he was like, "The pitch. The pitch was the worst thing about the game today." Brendan Rodgers does say he hopes to get back into the transfer market after watching Celtic fall short against Kilmarnock. Mission of no excuses, but the Irishman reckons the artificial pitch. You've got to admit, some of the balls that were knocking about, there was one ball that looked as if it was going to go out, and kind of it bounced and came back in the way. We're looking like a new team and rebuild. Yeah, Brennan's been done like a kipper, says Martin. Right, let's try and take some out of the game. Can we take some? No, we can't. Even bringing Kyogo, I'm sorry, but bringing Kyogo from taking Kyogo for being a player that runs off the back of defenders. Now, fair enough, they had played in five in defence, and when they pushed their wing backs up, they had the three, and then the three they would then narrow the pitch to whatever side that Celtic were playing at. So they had a kind of box system. So they were playing a kind of box system in defence, which then allowed the three guys in midfield to then become more a five in midfield. And it's hard to break down. It's hard to break down. I mean, at one point they were playing a four, a five, and a four. And we've not got the quality players. I mean, passing it about round the back is not the answer. I'm sorry, Brendan, but it's not the answer. And you're Celtic are a business club. If that's the type of football, that it's the type of football that we played before. I can't won us trebles, and we won trebles under Brendan before, so we can't blame him. He's only in the door 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Kyogo Yan back, 60 yards to collect. A throw in. Yep. Manders. Who? Big Martin? DJ Martin? Today was a game for the Guacamole. Yep. Yep. Or a Roger type player. Yes, definitely. We're missing that in midfield. We're missing someone that can help Callum out. Callum's always had either someone really good sitting behind him, or he's been sitting behind someone really good that can take the game forward. Turnbull isn't the answer, although Turnbull can take a shot. Turnbull's not the answer in midfield. Plastic pitches are for inside training. Honestly, Celtic players can't play on it, can't pass a ball. It goes slow. Celtic play fast, simple. As says John, we need a left back, we need a right back, we need a midfield player that can actually take the ball and run at teams. Um, you, a defeat would be a wake up call. Even the positive shows our quality. And we need to get rid of the biscuit tin mentality. We need to go out and buy players. I mean, we were mentioned with players this morning. So, I mean, the fact that Neil Lennon was at the game, I think he's our bogeyman. Neil Lennon should never have been anywhere near that guy. What is he doing commenting on Scottish football? Neil, go and get a job managing a team and do us a favour. I think you are the bogeyman. Neil Lennon even turns transfer expert and pinpoints Celtic's positions to strengthen. He did after the game. He was commenting after the game about where Celtic need to strengthen. And you know, the fact is, we should have won that game today. You know, Lennon's had two spells at the club. He knows the ups and downs and where we do need another striker. Even Lenny said it. He says we need another striker. We've got loads of wingers, right? We've got wingers coming in. You know, we've got enough wingers there. We don't need enough wingers, but we do need a striker. We need a striker, and that is the end of it. Bringing Kyogo back. This was a game for playing 3-5-2 for me all day long. Leicester did brilliant under Brendan, but they went downhill. This, for me personally, was a game to play 3-5-2. They were sitting with five in defence to start with, and then the five would go to a three as they pushed up. But if you play 3-5-2, you know you've got your defence is covered. I mean, Taylor was woeful today. I would have had Taylor off at half time. YouTube will want to be thinking the rest about top bollocks and next few clicks. Don't even go to games, Michael. I've spent the last 20 years going to games. So, in fact, 30 years going to games. It's only the last 2 seasons. And I've still got a season ticket, by the way. Have you got your season ticket? I've still got my season ticket. I've still got 3 season tickets, actually. So, there. Anyway, hold your wish. You've had your say. Okay. Anyway, that's enough of that. YouTube wannabes. Nonsense. Anyway, you have just that. Anyway, Badge, do you think the government cream buns board? I don't care about them. Hell, troops. Sam Mack is laughing at that. We need a John Hartson type of striker. Yes, we do. We should. Anyway, Michael, you're big enough and a man enough to come in and comment for your face and come on the channel. Anyway, no nonsense today. We should have went with two up front. Yes, we should have. We should have went with two up front. That's just my personal opinion. It is called the One Celtic Fans View. That's why we're all allowed opinions on this channel. Why not have Lenny as number 2? Not a chance. Not a chance. Sorry, Stephen, but not a chance. Even the Doug's getting upset with that. James says we should have went with two up front at the start and at least 2 second half. This is very, very true. Right, let's see what else Lenny was saying after the game. He wasn't really saying much. He just said the fact that we need a whole midfield player that can help McGregor. We miss Hatate, we miss O'Reilly wasn't up to his usual. We need somebody with a bit of physical presence. You know, we need a Victor Yamyema. Right, we need a Victor in the midfield. We need somebody that's in midfield. Football system was going back to individuals FC. That's true. Here, Scales should have been on from the start. Where would you have played Scales? Would you play Scales before Gustav? Here's the thing. Yeah. So up front, we have one fit striker. Yes, we have one fit striker, but you could have played Kyogo and Dyson up front, and that would have been your 2. We brought Yang on, so I would have dropped out the team, put Dyson in the midfield, put Yang on the wing, and then put Dyson through the middle. Kyogo Allen. So there you go. And Dyson plays a striker for Japan. Anyway, what about the 2? We can't really say because the 2 centre backs. It was their first game together. One guy's just 5 minutes in the door. They didn't do an awful lot bad during the game, except for the goal. They switched off during the goal. Taylor and McGregor were horrendous, says Jack Ray. I think we need to have said that. Scales can play left back. O'Reilly is the laziest player in Scottish football, says Kevin. Interesting. Right, let's see what else has been said this afternoon. Basically, Rodgers is saying that we need quality players in. If he knows that we need quality players in, why has he brought in so many players that are of a younger age? And only him can answer that. Only him can answer that. Lenny is passionate and a die-hard Celtic fan, mate. I think Rodgers, he left and ran out on us. Oh, Stephen, I'm not going to go through this again. We all know the reason that Rodgers went, and if we want to go into it, we can look back some of the other videos where I talk about exactly what happened, and that comes from people that sit in the director's box at Celtic. So I'm not going to go into that again. So Lenny mucked up 10 in a row. So there we go. Let's move on. Let's move to this year. Let's go backwards. No Cameron Carter Vickers, no Hatate, no Alistair Johnson. We will get by. Yes. The time we get Hatate and Cameron Carter Vickers and Alistair Johnson back into the team, I think we'll be okay. But we still need a midfield player that can boss a game. Definitely, because we're getting bossed about. We're getting bullied in that game. Key Ogo is getting bullied as a striker now. He's getting pushed around everywhere, absolutely everywhere. That was brutal today. Only played football in their defence. Hopefully, there'll be a wake up call. Yes, this is all true. What Grampian boys, totally brutal, play football. We need established players, not young players. Exactly. And DJ Singy is in the house. Late night and day for last. It is like night and day for last season. We went backwards here. Rotten, says DJ Singy. Were we rotten? I think we had alarm bells at the Aberdeen game. Played John Kennedy shouldn't be changing training so dramatically. I don't think it's John Kennedy that's changing the training. I think it's the fact that Brendan's come in and he's changed the way that he wants the team to play. Has Brendan changed the formation of the team too much? Has he changed it to a slower paced football? People are going to say yeah. So O'Reilly looked like a logic replacement when he first came in, but not consistent enough. Yes, this is very, very true. By the way, you must give credit to them. Where did that one go? When is our first Champions League game? I'm dreading it. Right, you have to, because the way that Kilmarnock played, I mean, they sat back. They sat back. They set their stall up to sit back. They played with a five at the back that changed to a three, which then the back three then they went wide or they went tight. They created a box system. The midfield players were man marking our midfield players. The guy that was a striker was basically just running around trying to menace himself, and then they were dropping back. So that then when our defenders had the ball, they were like, "Well, what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? We're not going to come out. They weren't going to come out." So he has changed so quickly instead of heading it in. Yes, this is true. That's a good comment, actually. BJ Martin, he has changed it. He has changed it too quick, in my opinion. But never will. You never know. Too slow down the wings. A lot of crosses. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of crosses into the box. And Kyogo, I understand why they've changed formation to try and bring Kyogo back into the midfield to try and pull their defenders out a bit. But when you've got a defenders that is so that my way to get blitzed, says DJ Singy. Armstrong was like flies. He was everywhere. But yes, he was. He was that. And there's a Kilmarnock player about to go to Saudi Arabia or Dubai for 10 grand a week. I was told in the pub. It might have been that Armstrong. So look out for that deal. Look out for that deal. That was one that I got told in the pub today. Somebody know that we have 500 nickels for the treble. 4.5 grand this week. We're rotten. For February last year, still haven't solved the problem. Position, Baz, not one shot on target all game, according to the stats. This was a wake up call. Yes, it was a wake up call. And I think it's one that the board need to take Rodgers to go now. Not a chance. Who would you get in, Tony? Who would you get in? Don't say Lenny. Please don't. Because you got banned for the channel for that kind of chat. Anyway, Real Sociedad's Premier League transfer target set to join Celtic. This is an interesting one coming out of Spain. Let me just see what this is. Now, this is coming out of Spain, this news. And it might interest you. Real Sociedad look to miss out on a swoop for Kieran Tierney this month, as the La Liga club were rumoured to be in for a move for Tierney. But the possible link to Newcastle has broken down, and reports are that Celtic are now pushing ahead with negotiations. Interesting. interesting. So that's coming out of Spain just now. That it looks like we are going to go for Tierney. We do need quality. We need quality in this team. That is one thing for sure. Anyway, let's see what other news is kicking around. Alien reassures Celtic that defeat isn't terminal. Yeah, really. He's convinced that transfer reinforcements are incoming. Look, it is a blow for us to come out of the cup at this early stage, but this cup is only any use if it's part of a treble. And it is all nice to win trebles, and it's a bit of a wake up call to show you exactly how hard it is to win trebles as a, a club. You know, I mean, we've done it a lot of times over the last couple of years, but it is hard to come by. The fact that we've been put out this cup is a good kind of wake up call early in the season that we need. The fact now, I think what can happen is the board get a little kick up the jacksie and they listen to Brendan. We do. This is green. Yep, this was said in the pub. We need a Scott Brown type midfield player. We do that. We need somebody that's going to come in. Calmack's not that type of player to, Calmack's more Lenny type player and Paul Lambert type player where he would sit and he watches the game and he makes sure he tells people to move into positions. He does that well. He does that fantastic as a player. He can read the game really well, but going forward and actually taking the game by the throat, we need the Scott Brown. Malcolm Mackay seen our weakness, said so himself. He said after the game, he says, our international team of Champions League, we wouldn't have got that done. Yeah, we would have got absolutely. If a Champions League team plays against us like that, we are going to get it. Honestly, 31 million plus. What's up for Greg? The whole team is going backwards. Big Champions League money. Get Hart away. Yes, and nothing Hart could have done. No, there's not a lot of Hart could have done. The defenders were at sixes and sevens. It pains me saying that, but the two guys in defence were far too close together and basically got caught ball watching. Yep, we need a strong midfield player and a striker. Give Seagrass a game at St Johnson now. Oh, interesting one. Why is Taylor not being dropped is beyond belief. Yes. What's the point of 2 years in Champions League? We spend 15 million. Yeah, this is very true. Very true. Very true. I'm not going to get too disappointed because it isn't a loss in the league. As hard as it is to take this result today, and we're all devastated about it because we all thought, yep, Brendan's back, bag of cans, let's go and try and do a treble. As hard as trebles are, we've kind of made trebles easy over the last couple of years, and they're not. They're not. You've got to beat what's in front of you. And as teams progress and as teams change and adapt to the way that we play, people know how to play us right now. People knew how to play us towards the end of last season. Ange Postecoglou changed things around and we got beat towards the end of last season. There goes my Messiah saying that Brendan had untouchables. Yeah, he's never. We're never going to be invincible this season or untouchables or whatever. Frees up 3 weekends. Yes, it does. This is a good point. Between now and Christmas, when is the final? It's this turn of the year. It does free up some free weekends for preparation for the Champions League. It also lets us get on the training pitch and it lets players get back to being fit. So, right, let's have a quick look and see. Obviously, that one that's came out of Spain today saying that it looks like Celtic are in pole position to sign Tierney as Real Sociedad have now, they look as if they've missed out. That's coming from news straight out of Spain. Celtic are rivaling Southampton for Sunderland. Man, broke that news this morning. That looks like Celtic want to go back for the one and only Paddy Roberts. Is that going to be a good move? Or is it another step backwards? Tell me. Is bringing Paddy Roberts back a good move? Bringing Kieran Tierney back a good move? Oh, it's like the old Three Amigos. Trebles are really hard. One day, but yeah, one bad day in the cup. Stop fixating on cheaper Eastern European players. I don't think we've fixated on cheaper No to Roberts. There we go. Greg Taylor, not as good as Tierney. No, he isn't. Tierney was fantastic for us when his first time. He was absolutely fantastic for us. There's sometimes a great defender, but he's got chocolate angles, in my opinion. To be honest, you'll win the league, but Rodgers' style is, I can't say that live. Paddy Rodgers is not the answer. Yeah, it's too easily sussed by other teams. Pass, pass, pass. Boring, says wife of Benny Hoffer. It's just up the road. Yeah, it might get so. There you go. Right, that's the comment of the day. Might as well get Scotty St Clair back in Lee Griffiths and a bag of cans. Anyway, clear out. Bring in a big clear out. A big clear out. I don't think we're needing a big clear out. Um, I don't think we're needing. We need to buy at least two quality players. Definitely, Port today must improve for these early panic merchants. I think what you have to remember is as a fan base, as a club, 3 seasons ago we lost a couple of games early on into Ange Postecoglou's reign, and it's not the same as when Brendan Rodgers came in the first time. When Brendan Rodgers came in the first time, he had a pretty much core group of players that was handed over by Ronnie that were already like a winning team and a winning formula. And all he had to do was kind of improve on that slightly and bring out the best in players. And that's what he did. It's a bit different this time where we've won the league a couple of times. We were immense in the league at times last season, but we were absolutely woeful in the Champions League. And it all comes down to that as well. So let's every crowd has a silver lining. Yeah, it does. It does. Like it says, today is all about. It is just. It's not even dark clouds. It's not even dark clouds over Celtic Park because it, it didn't happen. Let's try a jetty. Oh my goodness! Need a drink. Rodgers out, says Mark. Right, we look like our players that never met before. Officially, I'm worried for the rest of the season. Really sure. Victor Baptista step backwards. Player cards. So I'm off. My head's busting. Me too, Kev. You're getting the last one. Just dropped. Right. On that note, my head's busting as well. We need to get a couple of players in. The manager has said that we need to get a couple of players in. You know, make sure you hit the thumbs up button for the channel. Says Big Aussie Online. I don't think Greg Taylor gets enough credit. Really, he's been woeful this season. As the next live will be the Blaze player the next day. Was Dandruff, Joe Hart, he. Always look on the bright side of life. We do, we do, we do, we do. We always look on the bright side of life. I'd love Celtic fans to start singing that again. That was the time to be a Celtic fan. You've seen nothing in 3 games we've played. Sure, I've seen nothing in the 3 games that we've played either, but you know, didn't feel so bad until I seen Neil Lennon. Yeah, as soon as I seen Neil Lennon before the game, I thought that's it. That's our bad omen in the building. Anyway, with that being said, we did get beat today. We are out of the cup. We need to have faith, says Matthew. We need to have faith in the process. We do have to have faith in the process. Has not even been back since he's been outed. No, he's not, Greg. He's not. You would have thought of today of all days that it is one that he'd be back. But he's not here. He's not here. Anyway. Something today says a game like today will make us lager. When in doubt, get the bongs out, lads. Right. How long have we been on? We've been on for 39.10. The treble is still on San Francisco. It says 1993 again. Yep. Always looking the bright side of life. Yeah, definitely. It's like being back in 1993. Right. We need the last comment. Hey, hey, you. Shh. I'm talking to you. Right. Anyway, on that note, picked the wrong day to stop drinking, says Tom. How many of the players it's time to go for a walk, I think. We couldn't score on a broth. God bless you, says Stephen. Right, before the dog goes off in one, Have a great day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party.